Well, we're excited. You know, guys have put in a tremendous amount of work this summer. You know, everybody's anxious to get started. You know, it's not like, it seems like the season just continued to go with the summer league and individual workouts, and so, you know, this is great. This is a part that we're all excited about, because this is when you get the most work in the NBA as far as fundamentals and get your philosophy put in, and it seems like training camp is getting shorter and shorter.
There are heightened expectations this year. I mean, last year there was a whole that tank for Wiggins thing. This year you guys come back as, you know, division champions.
Right.
How do you manage those expectations?
Well, again, you have to embrace it. I mean, this is the first time I think this organization, even before I got here, had heightened expectations, and I think it's a good thing. I think it's something we got to embrace. We got to take it and you know, run with it, and because it's going to be there. And there's no pressure. It's good pressure. I'd rather have that pressure than have to answer the questions that you just asked. But it's a good thing. You know, we're defending division champions, and we have to go out and every night and play like it.
Did you set a goal, Coach, for like wanting to go farther this year than last year?
Well, you know, you always try to do that, Steve. But the thing about you want to do is you want to definitely not put too much pressure on yourself by putting a number on it. I think by improving, we put ourselves in a position to be better. Whether that means going further, that takes care of that. But again, we want to defend our division. I think that's our number one goal. We're not going to go around and beating our chest about it and boasting about it, or putting a number of games on it. But winning our division is our goal. Is our goal, and I think our improvement will allow us and determine how far we go.
As a coach, how much flexibility does it give you to have pieces now like Lou and James to add to this mix that you had last year?
It's huge. You know, we're not going to change. One great thing we have going on for us is our continuity. You know, our terminology defensively, our terminology offensively is huge. But then adding those two guys in the mix who gives us certain pluses, James defensively and Lou offensively off the bench, is a big plus. Again, you know, they've got to fit in and learn. James doesn't have to learn as much as Lou does, but again, getting to the rhythm of how we play and how we play and how we're going is going to be big for them.
Dwane, your relationship with James at the end last time wasn't very good. How has it changed, and why has it changed?
Well, the thing about it, I wouldn't say the relationship. I think just his view of how he was playing or how he was being used. And again, he's no different than probably, you know, 10 other players in the locker room, and especially young players coming in, you know, feel like their value is not being taken advantage of. And that was James. You know, he just felt like at that time, at that point of his career, he should have been doing more. Wasn't ever anything personal, never is with me. And it's something we talked about. I think maturity has a way of doing that. He's grown as a man. You know, went to Sacramento, was out of Sacramento, I think was down in the D-League, then back to Memphis. So maturity does that, and I think he understands now, and he'll be the first to tell you that he understands what his role is and what he was brought here to do.
How much does experience, I think, come into play this year as far as how you expect this team to improve?
It's huge. It's always been a issue in our last 3 years here, is the growth and growing. Going through building, getting the experience for DeMar, Terrence. It's not something you just wave a magic wand and those guys can go out and make plays. I mean, you can have the most best design play you can have, but you know, unless guys have been there before and understand if the defense does this, I'm going to do this. Those are the things that experience teaches you. And over the years that when I've had experienced players, some of the best plays you draw up are the ones where they ad-lib. And, you know, I've been with some good coaches in George and Rick Carlisle, and a lot of those game winners are from experience, are players that have had the experience in those situations.
So do you look to Terrence to maybe take a step like DeMar has? And
both of those guys, DeMar and Terrence. I think Terrence is our next, and Lou has done it. Lou has done it in playoff situations, but Terrence is getting to the point of his career where now you can start thinking about him as a end of the game player. Also, JV Jonas, he's growing to that point. I know there was a lot of times last year we were questioning as far as why is he in at the end of the game. But again, experience. I went with experience most of the time with Amir. Now Jonas is getting to the point where now, okay, he's getting ready to go in those spots, especially because he's one of our best free throw shooters.
Fans have a bit of experience as well, cheering you guys on. What role do you think they have to play this summer?
Huge. And again, I just came back from a meeting, head coaches meeting in Chicago, and everybody was raving about our fans, and I'm raving about them. I was totally taken away with their support. Again, everybody loves a winner, and you understand that, but they were unbelievable in the playoffs where players couldn't hear themselves think, couldn't hear themselves speak to each other, communicate. Brooklyn was talking about that, about their huddle was so loud they couldn't hear what Jason was saying, and I think that's what fans about. And then you go outside, and you've got the Jurassic Park experience. It's unbelievable, and that's what we got to continue and to work with and create and get that chip back on our shoulder.
If we have that from the very beginning, do you think that gives us more of a push, more of a drive?
Well, no, it starts with us. I mean, the fans are not going to, if we're not doing our job as a team, they're not going to be just out there doing it for no reason. The reason why they were doing it is because I felt like our guys brought it. And so we've got to give them a reason to be that way. They're just not going to go out there and blindly do it, I don't think.
Was that a surprise to you, Coach, in the way the city reacted?
Yes, it is. It was. It was a great surprise. I mean, I'd always heard it, but never experienced it. They said it was like that back when they were in the playoffs before. But I was, I'd been in Dallas. We won the championship there. It was nowhere near as loud as it was here.
Coach, do you see your style being a little different this year with more expectations?
No, I'm going to be the same coach. I think that's on our side, the consistency, the continuity. We're going to tweak some things. You always, went into the summer to get better as a coach, as the players did as players. So hopefully I've gotten better at being a coach. I started coaching in '79, and so hopefully I've learned something each year going into the season. So we'll tweak some things defensively and offensively to be better in certain situations, and we'll go from there.
Does it make it easier if the players seem to be more confident as opposed to last season? Is it easier for you as a coach?
Well, confidence is huge. Again, you put yourself in those situations builds confidence, and going through the playoffs is a confidence builder. But again, this is a new year. So we've got to take that experience, add it to the work they put in this summer, and get that 2x4 back on their shoulder. Because again, as much as we say, we still don't have the total respect of the NBA. I mean, we got to make sure we gain that respect and keep that respect. They say, man, well, they're a one-year wonder. And we're the only ones that can control that and go out and do something about it.
You talked about JV and Terrence growing and taking bigger roles. Do you hope that they can kind of relieve some of the pressure that was on Kyle and DeMar in the offense?
Huge, yeah. Again, I don't think we're going to change where, JV's getting, 20 shots a game or anything like that, or Terrence, but again, they can take on some more of the offensive load and definitely take on some of the defensive load, where we were 29th in volumes attempted at the rim against us. So JV's got to do a better job of protecting the rim. Amir's got to do a better job of protecting the rim. Just not only on the offensive end, both guys have to really step up on the defensive end too, in which I think both of them are ready to do.
Masai said that Terrence grew as a person as well, like he's seeming more mature. Have you noticed that as well?
And again, it's part of life. I think it's you expect it. He's a young man now. I think he came in wet behind the ears, and 3 years in the league will do that for you. And he's vocal, helping the young players, talking to Bruno. So he's growing from that standpoint.
Will you be writing up contracts for the players to sign like last time as far as commitments?
Well, no, that's those are different motivational things, and won't be shouldn't have to do that right off the bat.
It sounds like a bunch of your
perspective of the history of this franchise. Making the playoffs, getting in there was a monumental thing. Around the NBA and in many places, making the playoffs and losing first round is considered disappointing or not a great season. How do you get from where the excitement was just to get there to going further than that?
Steve, that next step is a huge step. I mean, to get where you're consistently expected to be there, and where that's a part of your conversation every year, that's what we're striving for. That's what we're still working for. Are we there yet? We'll see. I think we're still a young team. We still have growing to do as a team. To make that worse, a consistent conversation, I don't know if we're there yet. I think that's something we're striving to do and should be.
Should this be the first 50-win season?
I would say I'm not going to put a number on that. Our goal is to win the division, whatever that takes. You know, again, we're not. I don't. This goes back to your first question. I don't know if we're in the conversation where you can say, hey, we're a 50-win team or a 55-win team. You know, to be able to come out and say that. You know, we're going to be an improved team, yes. Whatever number that is, you know, that's not my job to put a number on it. My job is to make sure we get back and get up running again and get that chip back on our shoulder from last year.
Is there a plan in place for developing Bruno and Bebe? Maybe not during the season, but over the next few weeks in training camp, is there anything different that you're going to be doing with them?
Well, with Bruno, he's got a pull calf muscle, so he's going to be slow going for him the first few days, which is difficult. It kind of puts him behind the 8 ball a little bit, but we're going to be careful as far as, you know, our progress with him the first few days of training camp. But again, no, he's going to jump in full speed ahead. We're going to divide the teams up, different teams, not the first team, second team, and third team. So to give, you know, some good competition in practice and that type of thing. So if he's healthy to go, Josh, he's going to be right in the mix.